Hey guys, welcome to the channel. I'm Andrew and I am the owner of Complete Street Performance, and today we're going to do a heck of a test. We are going to compare the differences between a big cam car versus a small cam car. And how are we going to do this? We're going to do this on my C5 Z06 that's in here. Now right now we do not know what camshaft's in the car, but I do know from the power band and how it drives, it's got to be big, like really big. And what we're gonna do is compare it to a smaller grind, basically like a stage 1 grind. Stages are bullshit, I'll get into that later, but what we're gonna do is figure out which camshaft is best and what the trade-offs are. In this experiment, we've already gotten this car, we've already fixed some issues on it. It came to us with a broken valve spring on it and some other goofy things that needed to be resolved, and we did do that. We ended up putting down just shy of 400 rear wheel horsepower, which was pretty cool, and that was revving all the way to 7,000 RPMs, and it made it pretty much right up top. The cam probably would have kept going. It did plateau, but it would have been a broader power band than normal, the factory redline 66. It would have probably revved out to about 74 likely for a pretty high shift if you wanted to, but again, it already plateaued at just shy of 400 rear wheel horsepower. And now we're going to see what happens when we throw a smaller cam in it. Now the C5 Z06 is a fantastic car. It's powered by a 5.7 liter engine with 243 heads. This one is a 2001, which factory comes with 385 horse. The 2002, 3, and 4 come with 405 due to a change in camshaft. We're not worrying about that because it already has a giant stick in it. Again, we don't know what it is. And what we're going to do now is I'm going to show you an evaluation of the car on the street. It pulls well. It won one race and lost one race to a Mustang GT with the 5.0 in it, and we're going to see if we can increase those odds with a smaller camshaft. When we first got it, we did find a broken spring, so that kind of sucked, but after fixing that and a couple other things, we still have a big cam car, and it still drives like shit. And when I say drives like shit, I mean above 2,000 RPMs, it's fine. I mean, we're cruising at 2,000 RPMs right now. It's driving just great. The moment I shift into 6th, now we're getting some of this cam buck. And it's primarily between part throttle and full throttle. And there's usually not much that you can do about it. You can minimize it by certain airflow things, a couple other little tidbits of things, but for the most part, big cam sucks to drive. Now my idle is just fine. There's nothing wrong with the idle. Come down to idle here, nothing bad. Big cam, you can get that to idle. Sometimes you need to bump it up to like 900, 1,000 RPM. But driving that high RPM, or idling at that high, it's just the nature of the game sometimes. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you some of the performance with the big cam car and some of the issues. Downfalls of driving a big cam car is usually driving at low speeds, like a parking lot. That's like the only time where you can't really drive around certain things. And right now, we are bucking around because the cam sucks to drive at low speeds. And it's exacerbated by the buck causing your foot to come off and go back on the accelerator, so it drives like shit sometimes. what I normally recommend to my customers is, if you run into this, because the size of your camshaft gives you a little bit of this, is slipping the clutch. That way the clutch absorbs a little bit of it. Now you're riding the clutch, so you're going to wear it out a little bit quicker, but honestly, it's better than, I think it's better than like going like this freaking everywhere. I feel like it's safer for the car. I have nothing to back that up, but let me show you what it looks like on the Speedo. So here we are. You see those jumps? Jesus! This is usually where it sucks to drive, and it's very touchy too. So slipping the clutch, let me just get around the building here. So slipping the clutch allows me to maintain a smoother path. Be prepared, you're going to need to figure out your fancy footwork, but I can be a little bit more gentle by slipping the clutch. Now, is this what we want to be doing everywhere? No. No, this sucks. Like, at least in my opinion. Like, if you want a car to street drive, you want a car that you're going to enjoy street driving. So sometimes you need to give up a little power to do that. Let's find out. So now that we are at the shop, we are going to put in a smaller camshaft, one of our custom grinds. It doubles as a couple other things for us, but we are going to put a smaller one in, see the power band difference, and then take her out on the street for drivability impressions. So she is going under the knife. Look at that. All protected, ready to rock. That was quick. It's noon and we are down to the camshaft. But the only problem is I don't have the replacement camshaft. It will be here tomorrow, Wednesday. So we're gonna have to pivot to something else at the moment, but we did get our custom grind for this car that we are gonna throw in and see the power difference. But we're kind of boned at the moment. Oh, wait. So let's see what cam came out.
It's kind of hard to see through the plastic, but it's a Vengeance Racing
Vindicator.
Whatever that means.
Does it? Are the specs on there?
No, there's just a number.
Here, let's find out what that number is, because I'll call Vindicator. That definitely sounds like a big camshaft. For sale.
240, 244.
Yeah.
112.
Yeah, that's
big for a little old 5.7.
Yeah, that's way big. I bet you the small cam makes more power. I bet you
2,800 to 7,000. Bullshit.
It did go to 7,000.
Well, yeah, but it ain't no 2,800.
It's like 3,500.
Yeah, that's a big difference.
I'm kind of excited to hear how she sounds. So here it is, the C5Z06 with the smaller camshaft. Oh, that sounds so disappointing, doesn't it? But it might not be. We're gonna find out in a second what kind of power she puts down with a 225, 235 camshaft versus a 240, 242, which has no business, as anything I can see in a 5.7 liter engine. So, any bets? Let's find out.
Bets? $1, Bob.
Okay.
What did it make before?
This is where you're supposed to say $2, Bob.
Oh, then you get throat kicked. I'm guessing $4.
Shut up, Josh.
Thanks. Well, I don't remember what it made before.
It made 399 point.
Oh yeah,
like,
just under 400. No, this is a smaller cam.
Yes.
You get 382.
Okay.
Honestly, it's probably gonna make like 407.
I'm going with 410.
Really?
Yeah. So here it is. First pull, we've gained 4 horsepower. And look at the gain throughout the whole power band at the same air-fuel ratio. Let's see what the torque looks like. I bet you we're at like 380. Oh, no, where is it? Torque. Torque, 388 foot-pounds of torque. This is why you can, this is over cam, the red one is definitely over cam. That's the 240, 242 camshaft. Good in the high end, but like better for maybe like, I don't know, 50 RPMs than a much smaller camshaft. This is why it's so important to size the cam right for your engine. This is something that people just don't understand. Look how broad that is now. Now we have a beautiful, broad, usable torque curve. Let's see if we can get some more power. Okay guys, here are the final numbers. 411.7 to 399.17. You can see there is nowhere that bigger cam makes more power. And that's likely because the dynamic compression ratio is much lower and it just sucks. It's really not set up for the car. But our grind here makes more power everywhere. 393 foot-pounds, that's awesome. And then look at this. Down low here, I mean, that's an incredible gain. What the heck is that? That's like almost 70, what is that, 65-ish foot-pounds of torque? It's power everywhere. So when we spec cams here, we do a 5-point process that, I mean, basically covers a car like this. Well, it covers everything that we're working on about what you want. So if you wanted it to be more high-end, yeah, we can deliver that. We wouldn't deliver the cam that was in it, the monster camshaft. We would deliver something like this if you were looking for broad power, great drivability, like, and this is with stock heads. I can't wait to see, do I want to do heads? You know, if anybody out there wants to throw in a set of Portet 243s, I'd be interested in putting those on and seeing what she does. But usually I know it's going to be somewhere around 450 to 470 rear wheel horsepower with this setup. So, you know, I knew what we were getting into. I can't lie. I knew that this big camshaft was not going to perform anywhere close to a smaller camshaft in a 5.7 liter. Like, it's just, that's what it is. So when you guys are thinking about ordering your donkey dick camshaft, think again, because you're probably going to be slower than the guy that ordered something a little bit more mild. Everywhere. Slower everywhere. Let's get her out on the street now and see how she drives. I want to give a big thanks to Texas Speed for sending out our custom spec camshaft ASAP. It's obviously doing great in the car. It got here 3 days after I ordered it. Amazing. They really hooked it up. And you know what, guys? We're going to go visit them. We're going to go visit them next week. So stay tuned for that video because who knows what we're going to get into. Okay, so ready for initial impressions. Starts up nice. And it started up nice before. It's cold, so I'm just going to start driving and see how it does. Usually when it's cold, that's like the worst time to kind of cruise around because it's not in its idle routine, it's not learned anything. But so far so good. Oh yeah, oh my god, it drives so much better. I've moved about a total of 50 feet so far, and I can tell you this thing is a dream compared to where it was. Holy crap. Oh, I love it. I love it so much already. It feels, there's a broader power band. I mean, I'm not at full throttle, but I can tell that, oh yeah, third gear actually, oh, it feels so great. I mean, that's that extra 60 foot-pounds of torque down low that, I mean, it's a no-brainer. Like unless you're, it feels so much torque here. This car is so much better than it was. And let's see how it looks. Oh, it looks so much better. It's not perfect because it is cam, but wow. Yeah, that's just, I don't know why anybody would put that big of a camshaft in a 5.7. Now, you know what? To be fair, this car did seem to show, well, this car has, one person caught it in the last video. This car had a drain going into the front cover, which could be from a turbo setup, or more than likely with that camshaft, it's probably going to be a supercharger that's oil fed from the engine. And I would bet that this cam would do okay with forced induction. Right now, the dynamic compression rate, well, not right now, on the old cam, the dynamic compression ratio, pretty freaking low. So that's one of the reasons why the power's lower, even though it's a bigger cam. And for those of you wondering what dynamic compression ratio is, that's versus static compression ratio. Static compression ratio is a measurement from bottom dead center of the engine, when the piston's at bottom dead center, to top dead center, and the difference between those two measurements and whatever the chamber volume is up top. So bottom dead center, top dead center, and then whatever that area is, and that's the ratio from full to not full. Well, dynamic compression ratio is not from bottom dead center, it's from when the intake valve closes. So a bigger intake valve, and depending where it's at, could lower that dynamic compression ratio pretty dramatically to like 7 to 1. It's pretty wild. So I would recommend not going with the biggest camshaft, especially if you're going NA, but it depends what you're looking for. If you're looking for that sound and you don't give a shit about drivability or power, well, then the big boy camshaft is probably for you. But if you want to enjoy driving your car, you might want to rethink going to the stage 60 bajillion and stick with something a little bit more reasonable, because clearly in this 5.7 it's way different. So there you have it, guys. That's pretty interesting. The Vengeance Racing Vindicator camshaft is definitely not Vindicated here. That, I don't know, I don't want to trash the camshaft. I can't see a great application for it because there's no good split. I mean, it might be for a large turbo application that it would make good power, but and maybe it's got to have some kind of boost in order for that camshaft to make any meaningful power, because as you saw, without any tuning changes, the smaller camshaft, our custom grind, was making more power except for the final 50 RPMs. So from 6,950 to 7,000, the Vindicator made more camshafts. So, or the Vindicator made more power. That just goes to show you that the big cam car is not always the right choice. So when we started the video, I was saying what are the trade-offs? So the trade-offs, as far as I can tell here, is we gained drivability, we gained power band everywhere, especially after tuning for the camshaft, but we lost some of the sound. Now we still do have a choppy idle, but we do not have the radical idle that it came in with. And I'm okay with that trade-off. Now if you're looking to be some car show guy that just goes to car shows and you want to have the radicalist sounding camshaft, that might be the camshaft for you, the Vindicator. But if you're looking to like perform and drive well and enjoy your driving experience, I don't think that that's the one. Again, no offense to Vengeance Racing, because I doubt that they put that car together. I doubt that they chose the camshaft. This is one of the issues with like stages and going with the biggest camshaft that you can think of, because a lot of people think that you're going to gain more power, and that's not true. You have a lot of things riding against you when you think that way. You have the whole power band that you're totally forgetting about just for peak horsepower numbers, and you have the drivability aspect, because who wants to like street drive a cam that you hate driving? It tends to ruin the whole driving experience just for maybe a couple more ponies, maybe not, like in this case. And it's very important that you spec the camshaft for what you want. And that's what we do. We do this nice 5-point process. That's your current modifications, your future modifications, the drivability, the power band, and the sound. And we have a discussion. You get on the line with me when you're ordering a camshaft, and I talk to you about it. We figure out your goals, and then we'll set expectations. If, let's say that you want it all, you want the most power, you want torque and horsepower everywhere, and we're going to end up talking about the trade-offs and what's actually reasonable from the camshaft. Now I have a lot of good grinds that I kind of go to, and that's how I usually start my cam process. Is I kind of think of our jack of all trades cam, like the one that is going to be the best all around power and drivability, like with the minimal trade-offs. And then when you start talking about different things, that's when I start making the adjustments. My wife's about to yell at me. Watch this. You ready for this?
We're waiting for you, and this is what you're doing?
What? What are you talking about?
Like you tell me, oh, I'm just grabbing a few things.
And
the door's funky.
I'm grabbing an outro.
Oh my god.
The door is funky for right now. They're replacing it.
You're not even close. You didn't even close it though.
I know, that's because I'm out here.
Like, what are you doing? We're waiting for you. Why'd you even have us come here?
I love you.
Yeah, right.
She can't say it back for some reason. I love you.
I love you.
So at least one of my children loves me. One of my children, none of my wives.
How many do you have?
I might have to find another one. Urgh. So,
Like the video.
Yep. What's that?
Subscribe. Like, comment, subscribe. But don't leave any mean comments or he'll spend all night trying to reply to them.
What? I never do that. I used to. It's true. So we do that nice 5-point process in order to get you the right camshaft, setting your expectations, and meeting your goals, setting your expectations, and it really makes sense to have a discussion, because when you say something like I wanted to drive stock versus I want it to drive stock, those are two totally different things. And that's something that a piece of paper, or hey, you just gotta go with our G5 camshaft or something like that. It doesn't really encompass that. And also, this is why stages are bullshit, because stages don't have any kind of standard thing. You just think stage 1, 2, 3, 4, or whatever is like incrementally better, and that's not the case. Everything that we're doing is stage U. Not like the letter, but you as in you out there in YouTube land. That it is made for you, for your expectations, to meet your goals. That's why we have a lot of success with our grinds. And that's why, for instance, on this car, it made more power on a smaller camshaft because it was the right cam for the job. Well, I appreciate you guys watching this video. I'm looking forward to some of the next videos coming down the pipeline. We have the Google Pixel, why I use the Google Pixel 3. We have a couple other wild videos out there that are, coming for you. And stick with us because, well, we're having a lot of fun over here and looking forward to this race season. Adios, guys.